Do you want more and better color? Right now, I'm going to show you everything I know about the best watercolor palette. Whether you're nature journaling in the field or you're painting at home. So, now you're probably wondering why I think this John Muir Laws watercolor palette is the best watercolor palette. But before I tell you my 4 reasons why I think it's the best palette, let me give you a little background about my story around color. When I was a kid, I was afraid of using color and just used pen and pencil. Then I started experimenting with color and got really into Prismacolor markers. I started buying lots of them. They were expensive, but little by little I built up a collection so that I could do a lot of different colors because there's very limited blending options with those. They also smell bad and they stain and they go through your paper. And I made a beautiful drawing for my mom using Prismacolor pencils and their Prismacolor markers. But after she had framed it and I gave it to her for Mother's Day, it ended up fading on the wall and all of the colors were changing. So I was kind of disappointed about color in general. But then 6 years ago, I bought one of these watercolor palettes from John Muir Laws' website, and ever since I have been using it as my main source of color. Since I got it, I have eliminated all of those buckets of other color sources and I can literally carry all of my color needs in my pocket. Number 1, you're going to save so much money by buying this watercolor palette because of all of the other art supplies that you won't need to buy. With this one palette and 32 colors, just look at how many single combinations that you can make and how beautiful some of these combinations are. Now imagine how many colored pencils or crayons or pens or whatever pens or markers you're using would that be? That's a lot. So reason number 1 is these watercolors are going to last you for a long time, and you can refill any of them if you run out of one first. But for the cost of this palette, you're going to be able to make so much art and save on a lot of other art materials. Unless you like going to the art store as a way to procrastinate actually making art, which that is okay too, sometimes. Reason number 2, excellent color choices. John Muir Laws is a professional science illustrator with tons of experience painting in the field. So the 32 colors that have made it into his palette have proven themselves on a number of levels. First of all, their quality is exceptional. Most of them come from Daniel Smith Extra Fine Watercolors, a watercolor company based in the US. He has also chosen all of the colors to be light fast. So unlike that drawing that I made for my mom that faded after a couple of years, these are colors that will last for a really long time, and Daniel Smith puts them through a special machine to test their light fastness. Next, Jack has chosen a lot of colors that are really good for California landscapes, such as Serpentine Genuine and Quinacridone Gold. But these colors also work no matter where you are, especially because of all the combinations you can get and because he includes the 3 true primaries in his watercolor palette. Also, he has a great combination of staining and non-staining colors. That way, if you want to do multiple washes, you can choose the staining colors. If you want to lift colors to create clouds in a sky, for example, there are also non-staining colors in here, and they're carefully labeled, and on his website, he has information about every single one, or you can look on the Daniel Smith website. There are also some really cool granulating colors. So if you want to get interesting textures and effects and wet on wet effects with these colors, you can use the Shadow Violet, the Ultramarine Blue, and you can also use the Bloodstone Genuine. Jack is also a professionally trained artist, as I said, so he has put a lot of attention into the value range. So the colors are organized as usual by sort of the hue, but each one has a very dark value version. So there's a very dark green, Paraline green. There's a very dark blue, Indanthrone blue. And there's these dark, rich versions in all of the hues so that you can get those strong values in your watercolor. So he has chosen all these colors, which means you're going to save hours of time and hundreds of dollars of money because he's made these great color choices for you. Reason number 3, this watercolor palette is so organized and compact that you can use it for magic tricks and hide it behind your ear. A lot of thought has gone into making this kit compact and well organized. You can see that this is a whole beam plastic palette that has been customized. Some of these wells have been divided, and the quantity of each color is based on how much of those colors you will probably use. So there's small areas for colors such as naphthalide maroon, and you get all of these colors in a smaller space. Jack has also put thought into the organization of putting extra yellows in these 2 places so that you don't end up diluting your yellow or polluting it with other colors such as blue. Especially the gouache is carefully placed here next to these 2 mixing areas, and there's this flip out tab right here that can be used as a mixing area, but I actually put blotting paper here with a rubber band and use that for testing my colors. So you can cut out a piece of watercolor and put it there. This whole thing can be held in one hand, which allows for easy nature journaling in the field. And if you're using a water brush, that means that you can paint standing up while holding your journal, which I use when I'm urban sketching, I use it in museums, and I use it when I'm nature journaling in the field. So the level of organization and the compactness are something that's going to be hard for you to get on your first try if you're filling and creating your own palette. Reason number 4, this watercolor palette is field tested and child approved. It has been to so many continents in my hands and in the hands of Jack and other nature journalers around the world. My own kit has been to Costa Rica, to the redwood forests of Northern California, the Serengeti Plains in Africa 2 times, the deserts of Southern California, the Amazon rainforest. I've followed the Hadzabe Bushmen in East Africa with this palette, and the Ecuadorian cloud forests, and countless museums and zoos around the U.S. It has proven itself. I have been all over the place with it. I've slept with it and had it like crunched up next to me on bus rides in third world countries, and this palette can do a lot. It's small and it's durable and has been all around the world. It wasn't until just this last year that I dropped it at the aquarium at the Academy of Sciences, and part of it broke off and it got a teeny crack, but other than that, my 6-year-old one is still functioning well, and I keep it for my studio kit. Now I use this new one for my field kit. So these palettes have been tested hard in the field by a lot of hardcore nature journalers, so they have proven themselves over time. Now you know my 4 reasons why I think this palette is the best, but there's one 5th bonus reason. This palette is the best because Jack has put all of the information on how to build this and every single color that goes into it, and his entire process for building this for free on his website. So that just proves how much of a quality product this is and how much he believes in it, because he gives you all the information. If you want to make this own and not give any money to him, you can still make this palette. And that's just another 5th bonus reason why this is the best watercolor palette. And I think if you can invest in a single art tool, this is where I would put my money. I hope that review helps you. I personally love this palette. You can probably tell it's the best art investment I have ever made in my entire life, and I will continue to use it and know that it will serve me for a long time. If you got any value out of this video, please consider subscribing, and if you can't wait all the way until next week for the next episode of the Nature Journal show, check out these 2 episodes here. Bye.